And welcome back to Dwain Woode, MD Live. I'm Dr. Dwain Woode. If you've ever started something, if you've ever tried to continue something and had trouble, then this is the episode for you, because we're talking about how do we transform the mind, and how do we get the mind, how do we get the brain, how do we get everything that we are trying to do to be successful. We're walking through the Limitless Living Health Action Plan, and we are kicking off an amazing deep dive into the things that sometimes prevent us from doing that, being successful, and talk about how we can be successful as we move into helping our health be much better than it currently is. Hey, if you're new to me, I'm Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here on the channel, I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. We're creating the life we've always wanted, and we are living limitless lives, which says that we're not allowing anything from outside of us or anything from inside to prevent us from doing what we need to do to be healthy. We're presenting our best selves, our best health, and our best plans for life, because we know that that's the best way for us to be successful. If you're new to me also, go ahead and put new in the comments, because I'd love to welcome you with a hand clap and some music and let you know that we are excited that you're here. If you have questions, go ahead and put those in the comments, because we want to make sure that we get to those. I've got off to my side here, I've got my meters that we'll take a look at in just a minute so you can see what's been going on with my blood sugars. I've got my Dexcom Clarity Report, which we'll look at in just a minute. So I've got my meters over here. This is my Keto Mojo, and here is my Contour. That one, turn it over. And then right below, right there, you see that is my Dexcom Clarity Report, which we'll take a look at to see what's been going on with my blood sugars over the last several days. If you have been not been following us on the YouTube channel, make sure you get over there, because there are some amazing things that are going on the channel right now. We are in our one of the arms of our MOVE campaign. Remember, MOVE is our metabolic optimization via exercise. So it is part of what we do as part of the Limitless Living Health Action Plan, which we'll talk about. But right now we are on day number 51 of that campaign, and it is an amazing one because we are doing some strength training. We're doing some mindset talk. We're doing some improved body improvement. If you've not been there, it is an amazing show that we're walking through. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and pull up one of the episodes so that you can see what's been happening over in that space. And so encouraging you to make sure that you get over there and that you join us every morning at 6 a.m. This is what we're doing, and we are we're working on our strength training. So let me go ahead and hop over there right now so you can see. And so we're getting ready to do some squats. We do some curls and presses, right? So trying to make sure that we are doing what we need to do for our body, for our toning, for our strength as we walk through that space. So make sure you join us. We completed the 100-day walk to consistency several weeks ago. As a matter of fact, 40 days now, right? 51 days ago. So we want to make sure that you are also doing the things you need to do for your health, okay? Now, if you've been walking along with us through the Limitless Living Health Action Plan, you know that we've already completed the walking, the fasting, the strength training, balanced bites, and of course, rest and recovery is what we did last week. But tonight, we're going deeper into, the engine that builds it all. This pillar that we're about to talk about drives every decision, every habit, every turning point in your health. It's called mental mastery. This is the moment we move from how we move to how we think, because transformation doesn't stick unless your mindset shifts too, and that has to happen. So we'll walk through that in just a minute. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at what's been going on with my blood sugars, and then we'll get into the others. So here is This is what, well, let's get back over here. This is what my blood sugar is right now, according to my Freestyle Libre. Looking at this number right up here, down below, you'll see that is my graph. And you'll see for most of today, it's been kind of 100. There's that spike in the middle of the day. We'll talk about that in a minute. And if I go over to, let's get rid of that one. If I go over to my Dex, come on, Dexcom. Go over to my Dexcom. Once again, you'll see the same thing here. Let's go ahead and actually let me do a 12 hour so you can see that a little bit more clearly. So running in the 130s, 100, low 100s for most of today. And right, let me go back to 24 hours. Because I had to change my Dexcom right here. So last night about 3:15 or so, 3:16, it went off or went out, or it ended. I shouldn't say went out. It didn't. It was ending, and I didn't put one on until this morning after I got up and got ready for the day, and so that's why you see there's a gap there. Okay, so let's go ahead and I'm gonna change this back to this, and there's the gap that we just saw. And then in the low 100s for most of the morning. And then right around lunchtime, we started eating. And then we had a team member who celebrated a birthday. And so right here, you'll see that right there is ice cream cake. All right, so ice cream cake. And so that started right at about 2 o'clock. Started at 125. Went up to, I think the highest was 170, 180, and then back down. So by 4 o'clock, so a little bit, yeah. So by probably about an hour later or 2 hours later, we were back down close to where we started, right? So 130s, 125, 130s, and then where we are right now. Okay, so that's what you see there. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at my monitors. And so here's my Keto Mojo, and let's grab one of our test strips for blood sugar, and then one for ketones. We'll grab a couple of Lancets, and then here is my strip for the contour. All right, so let's go ahead and get that one in. Actually, let's go back to this view so we can see the entire thing. And open up one of these. This is the blood sugar strip for the Keto Mojo. And here is my Lancet. And I'm just going to grab, I'm going to use this finger. This is the one I've been using right now. So, ow, 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 ow. Okay, hopefully that gives me a good drop. And it did. So let's get that started. Blood sugar. And what do you think my ketones are going to be? Right, so we haven't been fasting since we ended our fast last week. And I had I had the cake for today. And while that's doing, I'm going to make sure I keep a drop going. So you'll see there that the blood sugar, it says that my blood sugar is 90 and 101. And then, of course, over here, you'll see, let's do this one. You'll see that's my Dexcom. So 90, 101, 125. And then if I go here, so 94. Okay. So let's get this one out. And we need to open. Let's make sure. Here we go. I'm going to open the keto. Oh, well. Come on, strip. Let's see if I can get that strip out of there quickly. Let's go ahead and put that one in. And I think this drop of blood is still going to be good. Looks like it's dried a little bit. Let's see if we get that started. There we go. I think that should work. And so what do you think ketones are going to be? Ketones. Anybody? And 0.1. Okay. So as would be expected, 0.1. And now let's go ahead and I'm going to let's take a look at what my blood sugars are or were and have been based on the Dexcom Clarity report. And there you'll see my Dexcom Clarity, and my average blood sugar over the last 2 weeks has been 118 with my glucose management indicator of 6.1. So if I were to get an A1C based on these blood sugars, that's what I would expect it to approximate. Okay, so I can't call it an A1C. It's an estimate, it's a calculation, but there it is. And you'll see that my time in range is 99%. Now, we used to exclusively talk about blood sugar average and A1C, but the industry starting to talk more and more about time in range, because we have all these devices that can give us continuous or semi-continuous data. Okay, so time in range. So how long are you in range? And here the range is 70 to 180. I tell my patients that I want their average blood sugar to be between 100 and 120, right? That's for people who are not on any medications, people who are diabetics. But normal blood sugars are anywhere from 70 to 99. So that's a non-diabetic normal blood sugar, okay? So if I change to a 90-day view, you see my average blood sugar of 111. So once again, keeping in that 100 to 120. And my glucose management indicator is 6.0. Time in range, 97. Range, once again, being 70 to 180. And if I look at the actual reports, the actual graphs of blood sugars over the last several days, here is what we just looked at with the spike right there, up to actually 190 is what it went up to. And that was over a course of 2 hours, right? That's the birthday cake right there. And 130s, here is where I changed the sensor back into last night. And then let's go back into yesterday. And so for most of the day yesterday, we were in the low to mid 100s, 120s, 130s, 134. Right. 170 early in the morning. Going back to Saturday, right, 120. And here is Friday. So Friday we broke the fast. Let me get rid of this thing. So Friday we broke our fast right about here, right, at 72 hours. And then, right, continued in the low to mid 100s, 120s, 130s, into probably about 140 or 150. So that's what's been happening over the course of the last several days following our fast on Friday. We'll be starting our fast again tomorrow as we move into another 72 hours for this week. So let's go ahead and say hello to some of our community members, because I see some of you out there. Let's see. And I see Pamela. Pamela says, good evening, everyone. Let's get you up here, Pam. So Pam said, good evening, everyone. Steve says, hello, Pam. Hello to Steve from Pam. Steve says that my ketones were 1.6 this morning. Awesome. Good for you. Steve said, Beth and I have been on the road, got back home yesterday. We hit the all-you-can-eat crab legs buffet. We hit that. Okay. Pam says, "Wow, invite me next." That's right. You got to do a road trip for all of us, Steve. Steve says he loves crab legs. Wow, invite me next time. I love them too, says Pam. Cornelia, hey Cornelia. Cornelia says hello to everyone. Hi to Cornelia from Pam. And then hello to Cornelia from Steve. Awesome. All right. And let's go back here because I see another community member just hopped in. So Teresa, what's up, Teresa? Good to see you. Thanks for coming through. And I didn't get to say to everyone, whatever platform you're on right now, welcome to Dwain Woode MD Live. If you are on Instagram or TikTok or Twitter, So not Twitter. Instagram, and right now Instagram is having an issue. So those of you who are over there know that there's been an issue with their platform. But normally Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitch, Facebook, and then of course here on YouTube. We welcome you all to this space right now, and welcome you to the show. All right, so let's go ahead and let's have a conversation as we move into our discussion for this evening. All right. So if you've been following us, if you've been walking along with us with the Limitless Living Health Action Plan, you already know that we've walked through several of the pillars. And you want to go back and you want to take a look at those. We've been walking through this now for the last several episodes as we talk about what are those things that we need to do to be healthy. And we've walked through each of those in the tiers, right? So walking, and we said walking. So walking and fasting, tier 1. We did balance bites and strength training, tier 2. Rest and recovery, right? So tier 3 we're in. That was the first component. And then, of course, we're talking about mental mastery in our episode tonight. And this pillar, I want you to understand that it actually drives everything else. Walking was the rhythm. Fasting was the reset. Strength training was building up this body. The balance bites was how do we fuel everything as we've come out of kind of that detox. The rest and recovery allows us to enhance and build. But tonight we're going into the engine behind everything. And this drives every decision, every habit, every turning point in your health. And that's this idea of mental mastery. This is the moment that defines what is going to happen and how we go about doing the things we need to do, right? If you've ever struggled to stay consistent, to follow through, or to break out of patterns that keep pulling you back, this right now, this episode is what you need. So we're unpacking one of the most important pillars of the Limitless Living Health Action Plan. It's the invisible engine behind every change you make. And it's not about willpower. I want to make that point right here. It's not about willpower. It's about wiring. It's about rhythm. It's about building the mindset that powers your health. It's about building what transforms you from the inside out. And so that's what we're going to be talking about as we move through our discussion in this episode. And so understanding, right, the Health Action Plan, it is a comprehensive action guide. It is a blueprint, if you will, to reverse diabetes, but not just diabetes, to restore metabolic health. Because as we know, dysfunctional metabolism is at the heart, is at the base of everything that we do. And that's why those pillars are very important. Each one builds on the other. And remember, they are not, sometimes we talk about them as though they are isolated, but they are not isolated. They each touch every single one. And this one actually is the glue that puts it all together, the mental mastery. Okay? So what is mental mastery? What is mental mastery? So mental mastery is about being present, about being prepared, and being persistent in your thinking. It's the skill of managing your thoughts. It's the skill of managing your emotions, your reactions, your beliefs, especially when you're being pushed against the goals that we say we want. We've talked often about rhythm, alignment, and structure, right? The rhythm of our lives. What is the tenure of life? What is the goal of our life? What are we about? What is that North Star statement? Who are we as a person? Most people fall in their health journey not because they lack information, but because they lack integration. They know what to do, but their mind hasn't yet caught up with their mission. And mental mastery bridges the gap between the two. It gives you the ability to pause before reacting, reframe discomfort as growth, stay consistent when motivation drops, because motivation, as we've talked about, is fleeting. It also allows you to recognize the sabotaging thoughts and replace them with other thoughts that are growth thoughts. And it helps you to anchor your why even when everything feels shaky. Yeah. And the beauty is, this is a skill. Often we talk to people and say, oh, if you were strong enough, if you had determination, if you had more willpower. But no, it is a skill. And that means that you can train it. You can build it. You can master it. That's why we say mental mastery. Mental mastery is not just a mindset. It's not just discipline or thinking positively. It's the systematic development of your inner world so that your thoughts, your reactions, your emotions, your identity all serve the life you're building. In the rhythm, alignment, and structure, the alignment part is, are the things we do, are they in keeping with who we say we want to be? And it's about three key capacities, three key things. I want you to remember these. Number one, the ability to notice your mental patterns without judgment. Notice your mental patterns without judgment. The words that we tell ourselves when we find ourselves in certain situations are very judgmental. There are times when we are talking to ourselves in ways that we would never talk to somebody else if they came to us with a problem. For example, I'm going to use myself. So I got the Cadburys. They're still in the refrigerator, by the way. And so if I go out there and I eat one, here is a common thought that I can have, or that we all will have. Man, you shouldn't have done that. Man, what's wrong with you? Man, why weren't you strong enough? Man, why did you let that thing bother you to the point where you went out there and ate the Cadbury? Why, man, you always do this. Man, oh, what's that? What does that mean about you? I want you to hear the pattern of the words, full of judgment and condemnation. So one of the capacities is the ability to notice your mental patterns. Notice how you think without judgment. Number one. Number two is the skill to redirect the patterns when they don't serve us. So we will see, we will hear, we will observe how we're thinking, those mental patterns without judgment, and then be able to redirect them in a way that now gives us the benefit of adjusting our thought process. And then the strength and the skills to anchor new responses so they become your default responses under pressure. This one right here, I love it because I think I've told this story when I talk to my friends and talk to people who come to the office. We live in a military town. The base is here. So we got a lot of people who are in the military. And so I often ask them, what gives the capacity to the men and women that are in uniform to be able to go into danger when everyone else around them is running the other way and ducking for cover? What allows that team, that group of people, to move in the direction of danger? And they usually tell me two things. The first one is what I want to talk about here. It is that they practice, they train over and over and over and over and over again, so that under pressure, it is a natural thing. If they only do it once or twice, guess what? It doesn't happen when they're under pressure. But if they train, it becomes second nature. That's why it is called mastery. Mental mastery is the muscle that helps you stop reacting and start responding. It's about how we turn the default survival into deliberate success. Because our bodies want to survive. It's going to be like, no, let's not do that. Let's go in the other direction. Let's react. Let's go buffer. Let's go find something to ease the pain. We don't like this. This is discomfort. So let's go do something different. Oh, I know I planned that I was going to get up in the morning and go walking. I'm going to do the strength, strategy, and mindset. I'm going to go lift some weights. I'm going to tone my body. But right now, I don't feel good. I had that discussion. I have that project, and it will push us in a direction. And if we have not trained, then that takes effect. How do we turn our default response into something different that sets us up for success? That's what we want to do as we're moving through and talking about mental mastery. Okay? So what is mental mastery? The next question or next thing is, why do people struggle with mental mastery? So if this is the case, why is this such a big problem? So let's get real. Most of us were not taught how to manage our minds. We were taught how to perform. We were taught how to obey. We were taught how to get results in your job, in your class, in your training, in your certification. Even if you walk into an office right now where you are going to get a service, right? What do they tell you? How to go through the process of getting what you need. But no one taught us what to do when fear creeps in, or how to handle the voice in our heads that say, see, you'll never stick with this. You decided that you were going to exercise. You're going to eat right. You're going to start cooking. You're going to learn how to manage your emotions. You're going to be present. You're going to stop scrolling on the phone when you should be going to bed. And the voice says, yeah, this is not going to work. You always start it, but you never finish. And we were never taught how to sit in discomfort without running for food, without scrolling, and without quitting. Mm-hmm. So there are several blocks that we all find ourselves in that predispose and reinforces those ideas. Number one is perfectionism. If it's not flawless, then it's a failure. If it's not flawless, it's a failure. One of the examples I give is a baby. When the baby gets to the point, or the child at that point, when the child gets to the point where they're ready to pull up and they're ready to take those first steps, nobody ever says to the child, hey, you fell once, so let's not try this anymore. What do? You stand down the hall and the kid is way over there and you're like, come to mommy, come to daddy, come to grandma, right? Come to grandpa, come to auntie. And we're calling that child. What are we doing? We're giving that child encouragement to move beyond the idea that it has to be perfect. Because it's not flawless. It is a skill that they are developing. And we are so excited when they take that first step. Even if they take one toe and they fall over. Oh, yeah. She took her first step. But when it comes to us, ourselves, or when it comes to each other, if it's not flawless, then it's a failure. You fell once, so I guess that's it. That's number one, perfectionism. Number two, there's the all or nothing thinking. So one bad meal, one bad choice, one bad piece of Cadbury, you might as well throw out the whole week. I guess I messed up on Monday, so I guess the whole week is gone now. So I might as well just do what I'm going to do. I'll start over next week. all or nothing thinking. The next is the negative loop. I always do this. I can't change. You never succeed. You can't do this. You always start and you never follow through. You hear the words? If you are in a position where somebody's telling you that over and over and over and over, guess what? It becomes ingrained in here. So when you start talking about health, when you start talking about your blood sugars, when you start talking about your diabetes and your weight and your coronary artery disease and peripheral artery disease, then, well, yeah, it's always like this. It's going to be like this. I guess this is what I'm stuck with. And I'm going to say to you, no, that's not the case. And then the fourth one is emotional buffering. Using food, distractions, or even overworking to avoid emotions. You thought all I was going to talk about was food. We use food as a buffer, but we use other things. We spend all our time working. We spend all of our time playing. We spend all of our time scrolling. We spend all of our time doing other things just so we don't have to deal with the emotions. And if we are going to live a limitless life, it says that we've got to address those things. We've got to address the thought process. We can't sit in that space all the time. These patterns are not personal flaws. They're just mental habits. And mental habits, just like physical ones, can be retrained. And our goal is, how do we get to that place where we begin retraining? Right now, we are working through the strength, strategy, and mindset. All right. So day one, we showed up and we started lifting some weights. And so we lifted, we got light weights, low reps, low sets. And as we've been moving, we're lifting longer sets, more reps, more weights. In fact, the last episode that we did the entire circuit twice. So we are training. And if we're going to be successful, we have to train. We cannot let this just be something that we're going to do this once. Can't be a one-time thing. So what is one of the tools? The mental mastery tool. It is the COPE model. Right? So let's talk about that. Because insight, the idea that, something is wrong and I've got to fix it. Insight without action leaves you stuck. And we do not want to remain stuck. This is where the COPE model comes in. A framework that I've used personally and professionally to build real-time emotional agility and deliberate decision making. Now, I'm gonna let me. So at my highest weight, I was 287 pounds. And you may have heard the story already. 287 pounds. Come through medical school, came through residency, in fellowship. Actually finishing fellowship. And all of what happened in those years, and I've gone back and I've processed this, I've thought about it, I've been looking at it. What was happening during those years? I did not have coping skills. I didn't have appropriate coping skills. I should say didn't have them. I didn't have the appropriate coping skills. The ability, as we're talking about mental mastery now, the ability to be present, to be persistent, the ability to stick to it. And so we often fail or don't succeed in what we want. We often turn to buffering because we don't have structure. And so the COPE model, COPE, C-O-P-E, stands for clarify, observe, pause, and execute. Clarify, observe, pause, and execute. And so the COPE model comes in is as a framework for us to help with the emotional, so this is real-time emotional agility at the moment, at the point of care, to be deliberate about our decision making. And the C stands for clarify. There are times when you're reaching, and let's use food because that's the most common buffer. We reach for food, but we're not hungry. And so the clarify is to understand really what is going on. Is this hunger or is this a habit? Is this sadness? Is this stress? What is it that's causing this? We're clarifying what is the damaging idea that's causing this. What is causing the confusion? What is causing the stress? What is causing the anxiety? What is pushing me in that direction? Because I've decided, for example, that I'm fasting, but right now I am trying to go eat something. Why? What's causing it? That's to clarify. Number 2, or the O, is observe. We want to step back and we watch what's happening inside of us. What are the emotions that I'm feeling? What are the triggers? Where is it? What is the story that I'm telling myself? That my boss saw my project. They didn't think it was appropriate, or they thought something was wrong with it. And that means that I am a terrible person, that I am incompetent, that I won't be successful, that they may fire me, that I won't get an advancement, right? So the story that we tell ourselves, what's going on? Where is it causing us to have a response that we should not have at the point? What is the inappropriate story that we are currently telling ourselves? And where is it showing up in our body? Is it in our stomach with those butterflies? Is it in our shoulders with the tension, clenched fists? We're closed. Our head is hung. That's the observe. The P is for pause, process, and pick. Now that you've noticed, we want to pause and process what's coming up in us. And then we pick a response that aligns with our goals, not with our fear. That aligns with our rhythm, alignment, and structure, because there are a lot of things we can do in those situations. But are the results, are the things we're going to do, are they consistent with what I say I want? I'm stressed over that thing. I'm upset over that conversation. I'm depressed over that history. And now I'm going to go eat some ice cream. Or I'm going to go, down a dozen donuts. Is that behavior? It may come from what happened, but is the behavior now consistent with who I say I want to be? And then the E is for execute and then evaluate. You act with intention. Act with intention. So one of the things that I've started doing is when I become stressed now, when I get into whatever the headspace, I've got the weights out back. I pick them up and I start working out. That's one of my E's now. So I'm doing something other than what I normally do. I'm acting now with intention, with something that aligns with who I say I want to be. And then I evaluate it. Check in with myself. Did the choice that I make, and it won't be in that moment, did the choice I make match who I am becoming? This is how we refine the process, through reflection. The COPE model transforms those messy, reactive moments into mastery moments. It's not about perfection. It's about power. The quiet, deliberate power of choosing how you show up in those moments. One of the things that I'm working on right now is what I'm calling limitless living on the go. Limitless living on the go. That is, in that moment, what does limitless living look like right now? Because it's great on the shelf, it's great on the show, it's great in the video, but what does it look like on Monday morning when the boss is yelling at you? What does it look like when you're in that discussion with your significant other, and you guys are not agreeing? What does it look like when you are sitting there at the table with the bowl, with the 3 scoops of ice cream, and the 4 donuts, and the bottle of soda? What does it look like at that moment? It's not about perfection. It's about power. To choose to show up right now. So how do we go about building this mental mastery, right? The core practices. Because the structure is what allows us to move through. I tell the story. So I years ago, and I ran into this person. Actually, this couple weekends ago, I was in Birmingham, and we were talking about there was this guy who used to I got as a trainer, and so went out a couple of times and met at the gym. And there was someone who used to go with me. And in fact, they would pick me up and we would go. And this one morning, it was cold. It was wintertime. And they called and says, hey, it's cold out there. I want to go out. I think it had snowed. I don't want to go out and I don't want to scrape the car off. Let's not go today. Yep. And I was like, okay, sure. Do you know that we never went back? Never. This is now, I'm thinking 25, 30 years later. Right. So I saw the guy, the trainer, a couple weeks ago. We were just laughing at that. So when there's structure, you don't have to rely on motivation. When you've put something in place that takes you down the pathway, motivation is irrelevant. So how do we build this mental mastery? Let's get tactical. What do we put so that it's kind of like a roller coaster, right? You get to the top and it comes back down. It's like a slide. Once you get into that groove, it comes down. That's what we want. We want to put some stuff in place so that it just happens. It just happens. It no longer relies on us. Because there are some days you're going to wake up and mental mastery, if it's not in place, if you've not put those core things into place, then it's going to depend on how you feel in that moment. And you cannot trust how you feel in that moment. So number one, you want to do a daily check-in. You want to ask, what am I thinking right now? If it's not aligned with who you're becoming, you want to reframe it. You had a discussion last night with your significant other. You were on the job yesterday and the boss said something, and you're coming into today and that stuff is still on your mind and it is pushing your buttons. And you want to ask, what am I thinking right now? Is it aligned with who I am becoming? And if it's not, we want to reframe it. So 1, daily check-in. Number 2, you want to practice the pause. Remember COP, clarify, observe, pause. The power is in the pause. When the trigger comes, we want to pause, we want to breathe. We want to take the opportunity to allow our prefrontal cortex, that thinking part of the brain, to take over from the response, the primal, the reactive, the survival part of our brain. Because when the survival part takes off, everything, all the bets are off. And this takes practice. Number 3, mindful rehearsal. Visualize what the day looks like. Walk through your choices ahead of time. See yourself succeeding. There are some things that you already know are going to happen. Don't wait for them to happen. Rehearse. What does it look like? It's kind of like, have you ever been in a conversation that didn't go quite well, and then now you're after the conversation and you think to yourself, man, I should have said such and such? So you want to do that at the beginning, prior to getting there. Walk through the choices. I am going through my day. What are the choices? What's going to happen? I know I'm going out with the team. I know we're going to have lunch. Everybody's going to want to go to a certain place. What am I going to do? I know it's going to be stressful. I had a lady who who we saw, and blood sugars were out of control. And we were kind of looking through the pattern that she had, right? And the pattern was that every day at about 7 or 8 o'clock, I forgot what time it was, the blood sugar would spike up. And I said to her, what's going on here? And so we're like, she said, I don't know. And so we started walking through the day. And I'm going to pick a random name because this is not the name of the person. And so she says, I said, well, what happens at 7 o'clock? She said, well, George comes to work. Right. So George showing up at work caused so much stress that her blood sugars went up. And there are certain things that happen in your day. Let's walk through them and figure out what are the choices I'm going to make ahead of time so that I can succeed. And then you want to name the saboteur. Give the negative voice a name. Don't let it speak as you. The voice that's in your head is not you. That's not me. That's whatever, trying to pull me off track. When the voice says, you never succeed, that's not you. That's not a reality. Just because you think it, sometimes we say, just because we think it, we think it's real. You never succeed. That's not true. You never do anything right. That's not true. You always start stuff and you never complete it. That's not true. One of the things I had people do when we did our 100-day walk to consistency is create what I call the I Can journal. The I Can journal. And the I Can journal is just a list of things that you can do. I can fast for 1 day. I can eat a balanced diet. I can walk for 20 minutes. I can have a conversation that doesn't go the way I thought it was going to go and not eat ice cream. So every time that happens, you put it in the I Can journal. You know why? Because we often forget that you can. And just because something comes to my mind, and just because I hear the voice saying it, does not mean that it's real, and does not mean that that's me talking. It's that critic, that inner critic. And we're always trying to strengthen the inner coach and quiet the noise from the inner critic. And then finally, so we're talking about what are some of the practices, right? Some of those core practices that you want. And this is how you get through your day. This is how you become successful. These are the things you're putting in place that are the list of things that I'm going to do to be successful. So every time it gets hard, come back to your why. I'm doing this to be free. I'm doing this to heal. I'm doing this to live fully. I'm doing this to whatever, right? Like I said, I'm working on my beach body. This may sound small, but each of the small things compound upon each other. It is a muscle, and every rep counts. Come on now, right? So when we talk about, you said every bite counts, every step counts, every rep counts. Here's a rep. Everything that you do, every time you do it, every time you go through, every time you are putting something in the I Can journal, you're adding another piece of support. You're building that muscle of mental mastery. And so where does the mental mastery fit in to Limitless Living Health Action Plan? So mental mastery isn't just a bonus mindset. It's not just a mindset tool. It is the glue that holds every other pillar together. When fasting gets hard, mental mastery keeps you from quitting. When balanced bites requires discipline, mental mastery reframes the craving. When rest and recovery feels optional, mental mastery says no, and it promotes the rhythm. When we get to structure and planning that demands focus, mental mastery keeps you aligned with the purpose. Every health transformation is a transformation in disguise. Is a mental transformation in disguise. So here's the truth. Mental mastery isn't about perfection. It's about practice. It's about the daily, deliberate act of showing up for yourself, even when it's hard, even when no one sees it. When your mind starts working for your mission, everything changes. When there is alignment with the rhythm and you've got the structure in place, everything works together. So my challenge to you is don't just track meals. Track your mindset. I often tell people that I don't want you to fight the donut. I don't want you to fight the ice cream. I don't want you to fight the food. What I want what I want you to do is, while you are eating the food, while you're biting into that donut, while you're taking that scoop of ice cream, I need you to be thinking, why am I eating this? Because you're not strong enough to fight the food. I'm being honest. But what you are strong enough to do is you are strong enough to change your thought. You're strong enough to change your mindset. And if you change the mindset, the goggles, the glasses through which you see life changes, and that now changes the food. Too often we're out there trying to stop eating this and stop. I'm going to give this up. I'm going to give that up. And I ask people all the time. They tell me, people say, "Oh, I stopped eating bread. I'm not going to eat bread." I said, for the rest of your life, you're not going to eat bread? Like forever? Or people say to me, "Oh, I gave up, and they pick whatever, cookies." And I said, "Do you like cookies?" They're like, "Yeah, I love cookies." I said, "Well, like, so what now? You gave it up. What? What's going to happen?" They said, "Well, I'm not going to eat it. I'm not going to eat it again." I said, Okay. Now, here's the thing. You know what happens when you give up the cookie and the ice cream and the bread without changing the mindset? Something else is going to take its place. It's not cookies now, but now it's candy. It's not bread. Now it's rice. It's not that, but now it's something else because we never dealt with the mindset. All we did was we stopped that behavior. And we're not in the behavior modification business. We are in the mental mastery business. So use the COPE model. Clarify, observe, pause, execute. Walk through those core principles on how do we build the mastery. A daily check-in. Practice the pause. Rehearse mindfulness. Walk through your day. Name the saboteur. When you hear that thing in your voice, understanding that that's not you. That you can do some things. Anchor to your purpose. Understand the why that you're doing stuff. Believe that you can do it. Believe that you have the power that within you, right? And this is self-efficacy. Self-efficacy is the belief based on history, based on evidence that I can, with my choices, with my decisions, my behavior, with my consistency, I can direct what happens to me going forward. So reframe the inner dialogue. Use the COPE model and keep speaking to yourself like someone who is healing because you are healing. Limitless living begins in the mind. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be present. You need to practice. And you need to believe that your brain can change. And if my brain can change, my mindset changes. If my mindset changes, my interpretation of the world changes. If that changes, then my feelings and my emotions change. And when those change, my behavior changes. And if that can change, then my result changes. Mental mastery is not a gift. It is a growth process. So this week, train it, track it, talk to yourself like someone who is healing. And if you do that, you will find success as we continue walking through the Limitless Living Health Action Plan. We'll see you at the next episode as we talk through. We're going to continue walking through this. If you've not seen the others, go back and watch those. Work through each of the concepts. It's cohesive. It is a combination. They all interact and intertwine with each other. And we will be doing the next pillar as we move into our next episode. Man, so I think I've said this for each of the pillars. This is one of my favorite ones. but they are also pivotal. They blend together. And you know what? You know what's exciting to me is as I'm talking about these. And as I am going through the process, people have asked me, well, where did this come from? Like, where did these thoughts come from? Where does the limitless living idea come from? And I started out saying, about me and my poor coping skills. For lots of my life, I had not mastered those skills. And so I lived in a buffered way. I was buffering all the time, And the buffering showed up physically in my health, in what I looked like, in my thought process. And so as I'm talking through this, right, I'm thinking back to the stories and the places I was when I didn't have these. And as you move through, you will begin connecting different pieces of the plan to the things that are going on in your life. And you can be successful by walking through the plan. Let's go ahead and say hello to some of our community members. I see some folks. Let me go back. Let's see. Where were we? Let's go back. So let's see. Steve. So Gion says, hi, Doctor. Hi, Pam. Hi, Steve. Cornelia. So, hey, Gion. Thank you for coming through. Hi, Teresa from Gion. Hi, Gion from Pam. Everybody's saying hello to each other. Gion saying hi to Cornelia. Key Washington. Hey, Key. How are you? Haven't seen you in a little bit. So thanks for coming through. Good evening, she says. Welcome, Key. And then Gion says hi to Key. So glad that you are here. So the Limitless Living Health Action Plan, is a process. It is a blueprint. It is the health arm of limitless living. Right? Is the functional arm in the health space. And so following the plan, and I want you to notice as we're walking through the plan, simple concepts that give profound benefit. Walking, when people think about walking, they're like, oh, that's not going to do nothing. You have no idea the power. If you didn't watch that show, go back and watch it. The power of walking, the power of fasting. We can go through and we can do a show on fasting alone, and we would never run out of information to talk about. The benefits of walking, never run out of information. Balanced bites, food, man, that right there. Strength training and the things that we're learning in strength training, not just about our physical body, but how it affects our mind and affects our behavior. And then, of course, rest and recovery. And then mental mastery, which we just talked about. This is profound. I cannot tell you how much power you gain by getting this pillar right. Because if this one works, then all the others become something I was going to say easy. But they become something that you don't really have to put that much time, that much energy into deciding to do. Because the mindset, when that changes, everything changes. Every behavior, every decision changes. And that's why I love the platform. I talk about the Triple E formula for success. Everything that we do, everything that I teach, every way that I think comes from the Triple E formula for success. As I'm looking through, okay, what are the concepts that we need? It is, we got to educate, we got to empower, and we got to encourage. We got to change the thought process. We've got to teach how the body works. We've got to help people to understand that they have choices. We got to teach. But teaching without tools doesn't mean anything. And so we teach with the show, we teach with the blogs, we teach with the podcast, we empower with the tools that we're learning. Like right now, we're walking through the Limitless Living Health Action Plan. It is a blueprint, it is a checklist. Just like when you get on the plane, the pilot gets in there and they're going through a checklist. It's a tool. And it's called the Health Action Plan because it comes to power. It gets power. It's infused with influence when you infuse your behavior into it. It can't just be something that sits on the shelf. It takes action. We educate, we empower, and we encourage with the community. That's why I'm always pushing community. When you hear me, you will not hear me say anything without talking about community. If you want to be successful, if you want to be continually successful, community is an integral part of that. So you hear me say that all the time. We educate, we empower, we encourage. That's how we talk. That's how we teach. That's the platform. That's what everything is based on. The thing, though, that gives the power is the rhythm, the alignment, and the structure. So when I'm talking to people, when I'm talking to people in the office, when I'm talking to clients, what I'm doing is I'm teaching them educate, empower, encourage. That's what I'm talking about. But I'm looking in their lives. I'm saying, okay, do they have rhythm? Do they have something that says, okay, this is who I am? Do they have alignment? Are the things they're doing aligned with who they say they want to be? And do they have structure? Do they have something that they've put in place to take the power away from the motivation? Or are they relying every single day? They're relying on the fact that they still feel motivated. Because if that's the case, that is a system that's set to fail. It has to fail. It cannot be successful long term. That's why New Year's resolutions don't work. I want you to hear me. I'm telling you, they don't work. People say, well, I did it for a year. Yeah, you did it for a year, but what about the rest of the 50 years that you were alive? We're not looking for a year. We're not looking for 9 months. We're not looking for 90 days. We're looking for the rest of your life. That's why when people say, I gave up bread, I'm glad. I'm excited. People say, oh, I've made some changes. I love the fact that they made some changes. But you know what that change was based on? It was based on fear because somebody died. They had a heart attack. They lost a limb. Something happened to their eyes. They felt something that was really bad. They had some pain. They were in the hospital. And there is motivation that comes from fear. But you know what? The fear will wear off. So I'm glad that right now they're motivated. And actually, this right now, when they're motivated, when you're motivated, this is the great time to put the structure in place because the motivation is going to go away. It's going to stop. You're not going to be that afraid anymore at one time. Or the person that you've lost in your life, and you say, well, I don't want to go like that. Or I saw mama this and daddy this, and I don't want to be like that. That's there, and that emotion right now is working for you. But if you don't put something in place, when that emotion fades, so will the drive, and so will the success. It's going to go away. So rhythm, alignment, and structure in your everyday life. Do you have some things in place that are setting you up for success? Love it, love it, love it. Hey, and I am always excited when I get to hang out with you. Always excited to be here as we are walking this path together. The Limitless Living Health Action Plan is an amazing blueprint that I encourage you. If you have not watched the shows, make sure you watch the show and you're walking the path with us. Don't do this by yourself. Don't do it by yourself. Show up and let us know what's going on in your life. What are the successes you're having? Your weight's better. You're off medication. Your blood sugars are better. You went to your doctor and they took you off of something because it's like, man, I love what I'm seeing. I have people walking into the office and they look good. They look better. They look more energetic. They look more confident. Why? Because they're walking through the path. And then Limitless Living says that I can't keep this to myself. Because it says I'm doing whatever I can to be successful. And to be successful, you have to take people with you. Let me say that again. To be successful, you've got to take people with you. So as you're getting benefit, tell somebody else how they can get benefit. There are over 1 billion people on the planet right now who have diabetes or pre-diabetes, not to mention all the other people who have metabolic syndrome, metabolic diseases along the spectrum. You can be a voice that says, hey, we don't have to keep doing like this. We can be better. So let them know that they can be better, and you walk with them. Don't just point them to a website. Don't just point them to a show. Don't just point them in a direction. Say, let me walk with you. Let me help you understand some of these things. Let me help you see it through my eyes. This is what it did for me. Because you can be the voice for change. Yeah. Later this week, we'll be back and we'll start our fasting actually tomorrow after probably about 1 o'clock or so. We'll be on. We'll do a pop-up live. We continue with our strength, strategy, and mindset, 6 o'clock in the morning. So make sure you join us for that. We'll be back on Wednesday for our first check-in for the week. Tomorrow you'll get to see what I eat as my last meal as I get into the fast. Of course, Wednesday we'll do our official check-in, so you can see what is going on with me. My blood sugar is at about 33 hours or so. Thursday we'll check in at 56 hours or thereabouts, and then Friday we'll do our complete review of fasting, how to prepare for the fast, how to get through the fast, and how to break the fast, as you get to see what I'm eating as my first meal following the fast. We continue to look at all of those metabolic markers, right? Blood sugars and weight and A1C and blood pressure and how we're feeling. And I want to make sure that you are not just thinking that this is, oh, I'm going to do this for a little while. We're not looking for a little while. We're looking for something you're going to do for the rest of your life. Because after all, that's what limitless living says. That I am not allowing anything from outside or anything from inside to prevent me from doing what I need to do. I'm breaking through the barriers. I'm breaking through the boundaries. I'm presenting my best self, my best health, and my best plans for my life. I'm going to be successful. This is Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. We're creating the life we've always wanted. Go there now, go out, and live a limitless life. And we'll see you at the next show. Good night, everybody.